Welcome to Andy's Garage. I'm Andy Phillips. Today I'm going to show you how to drop the gas tank out of a Pontiac Fiero GT. Now this is the 2.8 liter V6. We're going to go ahead, we're going to show you all the points that need to be detached, braces, straps, all that stuff to successfully drop that and to be able to do it properly. So let's go ahead and get started. Here's all the items that you'll need to complete this. First of all, you are going to need a ratchet. With that, you will need an extension. I have a 6-inch extension here. And with that, you'll need a few sockets. First one you'll need is a 1/2-inch socket, but a long socket to get up in there to remove the 2 straps on the front and towards the rear of the gas tank. Next, you're going to need a 13mm socket. That's to remove the 4 13mm bolts from that chassis crossbar brace, that support. And then you will need a 10mm socket, and that's to remove the 4 little clamps that hold the hoses on the sides of the gas tank. You'll need to remove those, otherwise that little lip on the gas tank, as we saw, will get snagged on there. So you'll need those. Then you will need some kind of a hydraulic jack with some blocking, and what you'll need that for is when you're lowering the gas tank, especially if you've got a little bit of gas in there, even if it's only 1 or 2 gallons. You'd be surprised when it's coming down and you're trying to hold it with one arm. So what I recommend doing is taking a hydraulic jack, putting a piece of blocking, and we'll show you exactly how I'll do that, but you'll lay that across right here, the top of the jack, because you don't want that to be up against the gas tank, because that can puncture through or damage your gas tank. So you lay the blocking there, and then you can lower the hydraulic jack and slowly lower the gas tank till you get it closer to the ground. Then from there you can get it by hand and pull it out. So these are the items that you'll need to get started. It's important, since you are going to be underneath the car for this whole time, I would recommend Rhino ramps, which I have here. You can see my product review on them. Highly recommend it. Also, you want to use jack stands on other parts of the vehicle, holding it in place. You don't want to be taking a gamble with just a jack. The fuel tank on this vehicle, as you can see here, goes right down the center of the car in the middle. So it's not like your average cars where it's off to the side or in the back somewhere. This one's in the middle, which makes it tricky. But coming underneath here, this is your fuel tank, and there's the lines right there. So you have your fuel filler hose here, you have your other return line there, and then you have other lines going to the fuel sending unit, which are these here. You have 1, 2, and then you have 3 right here. So what we're going to need to do is you're going to want to, there we go, let me zoom in there. You want to disconnect all of these. So we're going to have to disconnect this one and that one so we can pull this off. We're going to remove that hose clamp so we can remove that hose and that hose. And then for this line here, we're going to disconnect this one here. And those are all of the lines going into the back of the fuel tank. Now, as we work our way down, you have this right here. You have these hose this hose bracket on the side, but if you look up right up there, you'll see there's a lip on the fuel tank itself. Let's see, going up in there. That will get caught on this if that's still in place. So you have one here, and as we move on to the other side, there's the other one. And then you've got 2 more all the way down, which I'll head down there, but there's 2 down there as well. Those are the ones that are held on with the 10mm. So you'll have to remove those. And as you can see here, you'll notice this is all wet. We're having a major issue with it leaking from one of the lines on the fuel sending unit, which is the reason why we're replacing it. Now, here's the strap, the rear strap, right here. And if we look up there, that nut, that is the 1/2 inch. And let's head down to the front. There's another strap down there that we'll have to remove as well. Here along the front, this is the strap on the front. And there's the other 1/2 inch bolt right there. And then there's the 2 clamps on the sides that we need to undo here as well. Now coming here underneath towards the front, probably close to the middle section, you'll see we have here, which is your chassis brace, kind of like a crossbar support for the gas tank. It's held on, you can see 2 of them right there, but it has 4 13mm bolts that are holding it in. You can see the other 2 all the way down there, but you'll have to remove that as well. So what I've done here is I put the hydraulic jack in the blocking. You can see it right down the middle. Here's the fuel tank right here. So right down the middle of it is where I placed it for support. So now what we're going to do is we're going to remove these four little clamps here, and then we can remove the two straps, lower the fuel tank a little bit, disconnect the lines, then pull it out. So let's go ahead and get this off. And as mentioned earlier, this is the 10 millimeter, is what they are. Move it by hand, and I'll show you how these little clamps go in. So I'm going to pull it, but it has that little T-shaped hook. If you look up there, you'll see those two little wings. The way that this goes is it slides up onto them and then locks like that. So that's how you want to put them back. And then once they're locked in place, then you can go ahead and bolt them in. So that was the last. We removed all the other three. So now we're ready to undo the straps. That's the 1/2 inch for the rear strap. And as you can see here, I have the extension with the long socket. We'll slide it right up in there. There we are. And then now we can remove that. All right, and there we are. This strap right here can come right off. And what you want to do is just, and you can see, look at this. Look at all the gasoline up there. I mean, that thing is leaking from one of the lines at the sending unit, but it's dripping gas from the top. But then what you want to do is then take this strap and just kind of bend it back. And if you've dealt with GM vehicles before, this is kind of the standard with them. It's interesting, but that's the way they do it. So once you bend it back, you should be able to, you can see it up top there, up in there. Sometimes you can actually work them off, but I don't know if I have enough room to do it. So anyway, we'll just bend it. Let's head and do the front one and then start lowering it. Here we are on the front, and if we look right up there, that's the nut that we're going to be removing here to release that front strap. And then we'll go ahead and release the fuel pressure, disconnect the lines, and drop it. Now, one thing I want to mention, this particular nut on the front is a 9/16. So the one in the back was a 1/2. I'm not sure what the actual spec is on the General Motors, but when you're dealing with these older vehicles, people have done work and changed things, so I'm not sure what you're going to run into on yours. Get this out. And then this one, go ahead and slide that out of the way like we did with the one in the rear. Just kind of push it back. There we go. And there's a shot so you can see what we're looking at. There's the front strap hanging down. We have the hydraulic jack with the blocking in the middle supporting it. The rear strap is down, and that's how it should look. And then we have those line brackets, the 4 of them removed as well. So now let's go ahead and release the fuel pressure. So to release the fuel pressure, here you have your map sensor. If you want to see a video I did on how to replace that, you can check that out via the link above and down below as well. This is your upper intake plenum. Right here to the side, that's your fuel rail. There's your Schrader valve right there. So what I'm going to do, we're just going to go ahead and take a rag because you don't want gasoline spraying all over the place. So we're going to tuck a little rag there around it. And then we're just going to take a flathead screwdriver, release the pressure. There we go. We want to get that out of the line. We don't want that spraying on us. Good. Another way to release fuel pressure is also by removing the fuel pump relay. I have a video where I show different methods you can use. You can check that out via the link above and down below where I show how to release fuel pressure using different methods. Next, what I'm going to do, we're going to go ahead and gently lower this jack just enough so we can get to the lines, and then once we disconnect everything, then we'll bring it all the way down. But what you want to do, gently bring it down. You can see it moving. And we'll go about right there. Let's head over to the lines. So here's our fuel tank. Here's our lines. And we're going to slide here. This is actually your fuel filter. If you want to see a video I did actually a while back, but showing how to replace that, you can check that out via the link above, also down in the description. But we're going to come here now, and we're going to remove this one, and we're going to remove this one, and then we're going to go all the way up in there and remove those two hoses, and then that one there all the way on the left right here. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect those. That way we can drop everything. This one we can get with a flathead screwdriver. The other ones, I don't know if we can get to it as much. We'll have to take a look up there. Definitely the hoses. You can see right there. We can reach those. This one, I may need a socket for that, and then the one up above it. But I'm going to go ahead and release all this, and then we'll be back to start taking stuff off. Couple things you want to remember. Always use eye protection when you're messing with fuel lines and anything like that. You don't want to be getting that sprayed in your eyes. Definitely want some kind of an oil pan or some kind of a pan underneath where these lines are. That way if any gasoline is still in them, it drips into there. So now that we've done that, let's get down to business. Now, depending how long these have been on here, it can be a little tricky. You can see here it's starting to come off. What I had to do is I lowered the fuel tank a little bit more to kind of pull on it. So we're kind of reaching up in here. And let's see if I can get a shot of it. Trying to work it off. There we go. There we go. It's coming off slowly, and then we have just that one up there and we're done. But after that, then we do need to disconnect the harness to the fuel pump. And I'll show you where that is, but let me keep working on these guys. There we go. That one's off. This one is coming off. I believe it is. That's it. Tuck that off to the side. And we are ready to lower it. Now working our way back here, you have the catalytic converter, the firewall, and right up there, that yellow harness, that is the fuel pump harness. So we need to reach up there to disconnect that. That way we don't rip it when we drop the fuel tank. We're going to go ahead and finish lowering it now, gently. Okay. All right, so I've removed the jack because I needed more space to bring it all the way down. Don't have a lot of gas in this one, probably just about 2.5 gallons. So we'll just lower it down here. You want to be very careful. There we go. If you got a lot of gas in there, it's going to dump out, so you want to be careful with that. So we pulled it out. We're going to slide it here, and I'll show you where the harness is, and we'll disconnect that. And coming up here, that's where the fuel tank was located, was up in here. Here's the harness that connects to the fuel pump on the sending unit. It goes all the way up there, and then it cuts through that wall there, and you can see it up there working its way up. And then, as we already talked about, you come on this side, and it's located, well, it's kind of tucked right there with that little yellow piece. So a lot of times you can work your hand up here to get to it. Let's see if I can find, there it is. So here it is. Let me see if I can disconnect it from here. And there we go. Disconnected it. So now we can pull it, gently pull it down through this panel. And here it is. Now you can also access it right along the firewall, coming right behind the upper intake plenum. If we come here, you can see that little bit of yellow right there. That is the fuel pump harness, and you can reach it from up here as well. So it's up to you whether you want to do it from the bottom or reaching around the engine here to get to it. So if we come along here, you can see I can grab it, reaching right along the plenum, come around on this side here, and we can pop it off. And right here, and then you can disconnect it here as well. And now we can pull this out. Make sure to clear it. Sometimes you may have to raise the car up a little more, which this is the fuel tank. Well, that wraps up this video on how to drop the gas tank out of a Pontiac Fiero GT. At this point, if you're going to be changing the fuel sending unit, the fuel pump, the fuel level sensor, or whatever you're doing with that, you'll need that gas tank down at this point, and then you can do whatever you need to do. Or if you have a gas tank maybe that's leaking, as we saw here, this one had some leaks going on. If you want to see the video I did on how to repair that kind of a gas tank and restore it, you can check out the link above. I'll also have it down in the description. Also, if you want to replace the actual fuel sending unit or fuel pump, I'll have those links as well. So that wraps up this video. I hope it helps you out with any projects you're working on. Please send me any questions and comments. I would love to hear from you. And as always, I appreciate all the support. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel as I'm constantly posting new content. I'll see you next time.